I heard someone told this to me. I can't remember who it was, but they said if you're really trying hard enough and if you're putting yourself out there enough, a third of the time you should be comfortable, a third of the time you should be miserable, and the third of the time you should be, on top of the world. That means that you're kind of really trying hard enough. And I feel like that's kind of what it's been, that's what it's been with this. A third of the time I've been like, I'm done, this is not working, and a third of the time I've been like, wow, we're selling out, this is awesome, we're our best sold, the best sold product at this place, and we got that back. And then most of the time it's like, just another day. And
wait, it's not that deep.
Hey, Grace.
Hello. Did we start?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna start it.
Because look how good the quality is. Okay.
Amazing.
Grace Finerman.
Hello.
Welcome to Not That Deep.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you, and I'm so excited that we got reconnected.
I know.
And that you are also playing podcast producer for me today.
It's very fun. We were playing with the camera.
This is because of Grace. I don't know what I'm doing. I felt like I was setting up a porno.
No, you were, but you had it at the right height. Yeah. See, mine was too low. So you got the height and I got the brightness.
I got the height down and then you got everything else. So that's fine. Grace, you have such a unique background and a unique story to tell that I would have wanted you on the podcast even if we didn't get reconnected about your amazing accomplishments recently, but
thank you.
I just want to quickly tell everyone, I guess it is fun to kind of look at the camera.
Yeah, right.
It's our audience.
It's our third person.
It's literally our third person. We should have brought Emma to be in the
I know.
audience if we had a live studio audience.
I know. Or Dinky. That's my dog.
Grace has a dog named Dinky.
What's a Dinky?
What's a Dinky?
He's eating dinner.
Good for him. We'll eat when we're done.
Yes.
All work and no play.
Yes.
So Grace and I met when we were in Budapest, in 20.
We sound so bougie.
We sound
were just
bougie.
in Budapest.
We were just at the baths in Budapest.
Yes, we were there.
What was your favorite part about that trip? Also, for reference, Grace and I did not go abroad together. We met up through none other than Jewish geography.
Yes.
If you're not meeting people through Jewish geography, how are you meeting people?
And you're all connected. You all know similar people, which we've talked about recently too, where I've been reconnected with people who are connected with people that we met on the trip. So it all just comes together.
It's such classic too. It's oh my God, well, where did you go to camp?
Yeah.
Are you from New Jersey or Long Island?
Where did you go to camp?
Island Lake.
Okay.
Where did you go to camp?
Trip Lake, but I didn't go for that long.
Okay.
But I did like it while I went.
I feel like people that went to sleepaway camp either are so obsessed with it or feel a strong disconnect.
It was not me. Well, the thing is I am an active person. I love to do, go to the gym, run. When it comes to sports with balls, it's a dumpster fire. Actually so embarrassing. I would step on the soccer ball and fall when I was playing, and it wasn't cool. People were that was really awkward.
Did they force you to do sports?
Yes.
At Trip Lake?
Yes. No, we were for every sport. Softball, baseball, basketball, tennis.
So many balls.
Lacrosse, all these things. And I was horrible. It was upsetting. So
that is upsetting also because I feel camp is such a pivotal time in your life where you were probably going in middle school? Those were formative years.
No, elementary school.
Oh, was this sleepaway camp?
This was sleepaway camp. It was 7 weeks. I might have been 12.
Pre-puberty.
Yeah, so I was young. I still talk to some people to this day, but it just, the sports wasn't for me. And again, I love, I just like individual sports,
That's fair.
I don't like running and being chased, and I really don't. But a lot of people do. It's great for them. They make a lot of friends. It wasn't for me. So
that's fair. Also, those were the days, they're long gone and moved on. You'll send your kids so that they have the same experience as you. But
maybe
we met. Yeah, you're maybe I won't.
I'm maybe I
make
won't
them go through that trauma. But so we met through Jewish geography.
Yes.
We ended up in Budapest together for 48 hours.
Yes. And was it your flight that was? Okay, I forget exactly what happened.
My flight got my flight. Look at me blaming it on the airlines. I think I got drugged the night before. I was supposed
no,
to,
actually.
in Florence.
Actually.
Actually, I was just talking about this with my friend, and I'll replay. I don't know if you have nights where like you got so drunk that like all of a sudden you'll wake up in a hot sweat 12 years later and be like, something else happened. Like nothing dangerous happened, but I just remember being in a bar and like not having like full control over my body.
I didn't remember this. I remember that the flight.
Because I think I just got really, I thought at the time that I was just really drunk. And looking back, I remember my friend's head
Something wasn't
spinning
right
while I was talking to him. And like that doesn't happen.
And you can remember clearly talking to someone too. Yeah. It's a strange
crazy
thing.
what our mind and our bodies are capable of remembering. But yeah, so then I got to Budapest like a day and a half late because my flight was delayed.
Made it.
I made it, and like I have a story to tell.
Yeah, Budapest was a time. I remember I made friends with two people that I have not ever seen. And I ended up at an organ concert. I don't know why, but my phone broke and I had no money. And I was with people I didn't know. And all my makeup had fallen in the toilet. And I was just like, I don't know how to get home because I didn't know the Airbnb address. And so I was just like, what do I do? You know, I didn't know. I was trying to describe to I mean, it wasn't an Uber. It was like a cab. I was trying to like describe to him, like it's by the brick building. And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, you know, the pest, you know, he's like, what's the pest? I was like, I thought they were the pest, like, but the one bridge to the other, but it's
like
not
the two sides.
No, but it's not called that. So like it's Budapest. I thought it was no.
That's insane that
he thought I had problems, which I probably did. But
so many times, like I will look back, even like a story like that. I'm like, that's amazing that you're alive.
Literally. It's amazing I found it too.
Yeah, it's impressive, especially with all the brick. Budapest is consumed
of
brick.
No, it's all brick and stone. And I was like, it's the brick. And I don't know how we found it, but I guess I still don't know. It's a mystery.
The grace of God, it had to have
Yes.
been.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like the Jewish geography gods were like, come on, like she's never gonna find her friends. Like blah blah blah. But so then I haven't seen you since.
Yes.
And then a few months ago, I would say.
Yes.
Actually, right after college, you were coming up on my social media because you were a newscaster.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
cool.
that's crazy too. Is like we don't always realize how far our like network goes.
Yes.
And even if people aren't telling you, I've seen your stuff, they're seeing it.
Yeah.
How did you get, like, did you think that you wanted to be a newscaster right out of college? Like, also share some stories because you're fucking funny.
I mean, there are a lot of stories, but when I graduated from school, I knew what I wanted to do. And I got a job on air with an NBC affiliate, but that affiliate was in South Dakota. Now, I am from Connecticut. I grew up in the tri-state, well, from New York City, actually, but spent most of my childhood in Connecticut, and I went to Michigan. I was a little intimidated to move to South Dakota. Nothing against South Dakotians, but I was intimidated. I moved there without ever seeing it. I just decided this is what I'm going to do, and I never saw it, and I just said, all right. My parents, I remember, I told them, and they were like, you should probably go see it. And I was like, well, I know it's not New York, so it's just, we're just going to go with it. And that's what I did. And
that is so admirable because I might be taking words out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted the job so bad that you were down to do whatever. Yeah,
I was. And, you know, at the time it was really difficult, but I look back. It's funny because every station along the way, I look back at that time and I wish I could go back to a day and just relive it. You know what I mean? But in that moment, all I wanted to do was come home. So I, was there for a little bit. And then I moved to Lexington, Kentucky.
How many years were you in South Dakota
I was there only for 5 months. So I didn't know how long it would be exactly because I didn't have to sign a contract. So that's part of the reason I chose South Dakota. If you're in TV news, you usually have to sign a contract for 2 years that locks you in, and no matter what happens, you can't go anywhere. It's really expensive to get out. So even if someone a year in thinks this job isn't for me, a lot of people are then stuck in that contract. Obviously, you can buy out, but it's very expensive. And it's a job where at first you're not making a lot of money. So hopefully, you know, someone might have family who are able to help them in some way. But if not, they're kind of in a situation where, you know, they're stuck, you know.
Is that common that people find?
Extremely common. The only contract I didn't have to sign was in South Dakota. And the reason I chose that was really strategic. And the reason they didn't have a contract at the time, I didn't know this, but they were going through a merger with another company. So they thought that there would be layoffs and they didn't want anyone to know. Which to me, this is going to, my boss there, I still talk to this day. She was wonderful, but it worked out for me because I knew this is not a place I want to be forever. And I will get so much experience in 5 months that I wouldn't have. And I will be able to go to a place where I have to sign a contract in a city where I feel like I can have more of a work-life balance, just with my preferences. You know, I like a lot going on.
That is such a what's meant to be will be.
It was a strategic move, but people thought I was crazy. They did. And I had a lot of people talking about it, which honestly, looking back, didn't feel great. You know, people were like, what are you doing? I've always had that. I mean, I'm sure you've had that a lot too with, you know, putting yourself out there, but I had that from a lot of people.
Would they tell you like to your face, like, do you think this is a good idea? Or did you just know that that's what they thought?
Both. So people would be like, they would think it was joking, but oh, Finerman, guess where she's going? And I knew that it was kind of like people they were like, huh, what's happening here? But I mean, not to toot my horn, but a few years down the line, I was working in a top 10 market and all those people were DMing me like, wow, I can't believe that you got there. And I'm like, well, this is what you have to do. You know, you can't follow the path how everyone else does it, or you will end up in the same place that they do. And that's not a bad place, but if you don't want that, right, it's like, why are you following it? You know?
Well, it's such a unique path too. Like, you don't just graduate college and become like the co-anchor at ABC.
Exactly.
What was your dream at that time? Like, what brought you there that you were like, I'm gonna rough it to get to X?
Yes, my dream was to work on network news, so national, one of the big networks. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to anchor. I originally wanted to do the morning shift. That was what I really wanted. I ended up doing the morning shift in Lexington, Kentucky, which was a good middle-sized market. And I got to anchor there for the first time. And it was just, I think very fondly back about those times because it was really exciting for me. And it was a CBS affiliate and it was the station there. So when you'd walk around, people knew, you know, especially older people loved it. So you've got like a 60-year-old. Oh my God, they were a big fan. They knew about my dog. They, you know, which was really kind of funny because you don't really realize that, you know, people are there. You just look at a camera kind of like this.
Right. Were you posting on TikTok at the time too? Or just
no,
like they just knew you from TV?
Yeah, from TV. TikTok. So it's funny. I moved to Kentucky and then COVID hit. Within a first maybe 2 months of being at a new job. But unlike other jobs, I was a frontline worker. So we were still going. Wow. We weren't going into the station, but we were going on the field. So I was spending at that time a lot of time outside the hospital because that was the big story was COVID. Mm-hmm. And I'm a hypochondriac.
Perfect. So, literally perfect.
Well, just say people were laughing at me. I had my gloves. I had my like makeshift masks. I had my I was terrified. People were, we'll get through this. I don't know about you all, but I'm not. Like, I'm not making it through. You all are. I'm going to be dead. Like, I was convinced. And then, you know, that's just how it was.
And you don't get to say, yes, I'm comfortable reporting on this, or no. It's just kind of what you're given.
Yeah. I mean, you get to say, but like, do you really get to say? Especially bottom of the totem pole, it feels uncomfortable. But it's part of the news job, you know? You run towards danger, not away from it. That's what a lot of people in the industry say. So if there are shootings, car wrecks, fires, whatever that is, you respond to that. Flooding, you know, there were times when I was driving down a road when there was flooding and the road would just disappear. And my photographer and I would be like, oh my God, what do we do? Wow. So there, you know, snowstorms. So Yeah, there are definitely times with a lot of reporters where they don't feel safe, and that was one reason I ended up leaving news. Now, was I safe most of the time? Yes, but
I feel like we just have gut feelings sometimes too. Like,
yeah.
what was the craziest memory or story that you can look back on, either that you reported on or that you experienced where you're like, that was crazy?
Oh my God.
If you want to think about it, that's okay too. But
See, there are so many just bizarre things that happened. And I don't know if I can get a little dark, but
you can get dark,
can
deep,
I get
dark,
okay.
deep, whatever.
Well, it's dark. Okay, so my photographer and I went to cover what we thought was a murder. And when we went there, it turned out that the woman kept her mom dead in the house for a long time to keep getting money from insurance.
Stop.
And for some reason, I just died laughing because it was after Halloween. And so I realized, my photographer and I at the same time, we were dying laughing because we were like, trick-or-treaters were literally coming in like, oh, it's a dead body, oh. And it like was.
That.
And I don't know why I thought it was so funny at the time. I must have been sleep deprived because, again, I worked morning and nights, but I couldn't handle it. I was like dying, and people were like, is she normal? Like they thought I had severe problems. But
that's crazy.
yeah, that was just really bizarre. It was really weird.
Also, like, oh wait, that means that we have to pause it. Everyone, please pause. Okay, wait. So now I'm gonna keep that. Great, that's a crazy story.
No, it's and it's the people are gonna think I'm fucked up that I was laughing at that, but I couldn't. I just literally.
Okay, so now we stop and then we go again. Okay, that was so easy.
We did it.
And I'm gonna do 19 minutes. Okay. Let's just go back into it. Okay. So I'll be like,
is it recording?
That's recording. This is recording. And now we're back. That's crazy. Also, like the amount of shit that's happening that we don't even know about. Do you feel like you have to like keep secrets? Like, do you have secrets?
I mean, yes and no. Like I should, but when I was talking to my fellow coworkers and stuff, you're like, oh my God, did you really hear this? Like we weren't really supposed to, there were just so many bizarre instances though. I was in rural Kentucky for a story. And I was in a trailer park and there was this man that came out of the trailer with a huge gun and a dog, and the dog came running after me, and I'm running, and then like literally running. But the thing is the guy was like, come here to the dog, and then the dog ended up going back, and he was just like, oh my God, you're the lady from the news. Like that wasn't what I was expecting at all. I was expecting him to be like upset, you know what I mean? But he was like so excited, and I was like, okay, that was like not how I thought it was gonna go. I thought I was about to, be killed for trespassing or something, even though I didn't mean to trespass. I don't know.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You're like his biggest, he's your biggest fan.
No, there were just every day, just the thing. I mean, from man on the street interviews where you go out, there's so many just crazy people that even the most mundane story, if you get just a loony bit, it makes it so funny.
It's like, amazing. Like, when you grow up in like a certain circle and then you live in a place like Kentucky or South Dakota or like even New York City, the world feels so much bigger, and you're like, I haven't met every type of person, and that's beautiful, but also scary, but also like people are very unpredictable. And exactly like that trailer park guy, like, right, you had an assumption of like what he was going to be, and he was like, I love you.
Totally. And this is also at a time where there was a lot of mistrust in the media and in news, which I get. I think news can do a better job. But Yeah, I was just expecting him to not be a fan and to not want us there, and it was not that at all.
He like has a photo wall of you. He's like,
Oh my God,
I'm
literally, but there were
obsessed.
so many bloopers too. Like my very first time on air, I didn't know I was on air and I just walked off. Like literally, it was so, there were times.
well,
but
you were showing me blooper reels like from videos of news anchors. Like those moments, did you ever go viral? Like, did any of your newscasts ever go viral?
not viral, but I had some bloopers and then I posted it on TikTok and my boss found it. And she was not happy at all. And I thought like, to me, I was just like, this is what people are doing to get people to watch the news, to get people interested. Like,
Especially the younger generation.
exactly. And I'm personally think that like you should be able to laugh at yourself. I don't know.
agree.
I think that if we look at the people now that are getting a lot of views, they're the ones that you don't always have to take seriously.
Right.
Obviously, you have to take news reporters seriously, but we're all people. Like, can we just laugh if there's a mistake? Seriously. But yeah, no, it wasn't saw that way.
You're like, oops, that was a
Yeah, I was like,
that was not me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my, that was probably scary. Well,
Yeah.
your news time is very important because it's
Yes.
kind of brought us to the reason why we're here today.
Yes.
I would love if you told the Not That Deep listeners about how Date Smarter got started.
I feel like I'm doing an old ad on QVC where I'm just like,
Oh my God, QVC could be a dream.
oh my God.
I want you to tell the story of like how it got started because one, it's amazing. Two, I think for anyone listening, the impossible was made possible and you make it look very easy and very seamless. And three, it's delicious and I want people to buy it. So promote, but also
Yes.
like share the history because this is kind of like giving How Did This Get Made, which I know
Yes.
that was a show. Oh wait,
How I built this.
How I built this, you said. So
yes.
I'm going to let you take on over, but
Yes.
hit us with the Date Smarter history.
Yes. So I did work in TV news. And because of that, my hours were not normal. I was either getting up at 3 a.m. or I was working until 3 a.m. And I just had a lot of free time during the day when everyone else was at work. And so I would bake. And I'm someone who has always been into really healthy alternatives. It's just been a part of my lifestyle for a while. So I had an idea to make a healthy Twix bar
Yum.
with a protein cookie and a caramel, and I would cover it in chocolate. And I would bring it to people and they'd be like, the cookie part is horrific. Like, we hate it, but the caramel is really good. And it's unlike anything we've ever had. So then I decided, okay, we're going to make the caramel. I would just bake on my days off. People are saying this is really good. You should sell it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you in South Dakota at the time or Kentucky or Boston?
I'm in New Hampshire, right outside Boston's
okay.
market, but I was there. All the politicians came through for the First of the Nation primaries. So
Wow.
that's what the station was for. So interviewing a lot of politicians. And so, yeah, I was there. And for about a year, I just started baking. I was figuring out, what to call it. I was figuring out a logo.
Wait, hold on. Because you were baking.
Yeah.
And then what happened where you're like, I'm going to get rid of the cookie and
Yeah.
I'm just going to do the caramel. But then when was I'm going to make a business and like a product?
So the cookie part, I'm obsessed with protein. A lot of people are. And I really wanted to make it work. But I'm sure you've tried a lot of protein bars. And I'm sorry. People will be like, it's so good. It doesn't. No.
Stop saying that the cake batter protein bar tastes like cake batter. It doesn't. You are lying.
Yeah. And it might even be a flavor like that, but just the texture. You can't get the texture, the flavor, the aftertaste is a whole thing. And I was like, you know what? This cookie isn't working, but this caramel is completely clean and it's unlike anything I've tried. It's really unique. And I am someone who tries all the health products. And it was unlike anything I've tried. And that's actually some feedback we've had from people. Like, they were like, we've never seen someone nail the consistency like this.
Damn.
So I was like, I don't know. I've just kind of decided I was going to pivot. I was like, okay, if this is going to work, I'm going to have to learn to pivot, and we're going to pivot. So I would make them, and people just gave me really good feedback. And so at this point, I was kind of thinking about it, and I was thinking about how can more people try them. I was also listening to this podcast, and a lot of people, it was about people starting businesses, a lot of CPG or consumer packaged good products. And I thought, this is unique, so I'm going to try to make it work. I went on Upwork and I found a food scientist, and
Wow.
I'd work with her to try to make it shelf life stable, and it just took
What is
a
Upwork?
long time. Upwork is a website where you can find freelancers. So, whatever it is for editing, maybe for you, or for someone to even clean out your closet in a way that's organized, like an organizer.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's really neat. I think it might have gone public, maybe not, but it's
giving
great.
WeWork, but it's not related to
Yes.
WeWork.
No.
Okay.
And a lot of it's virtual work, and it's people around the world. So the person who helped me, the first person was in Canada. And then I ended up needing to find someone who actually had a factory. So I was connected to someone else who helped me do the shelf life, which was later on. But yeah, then I had this idea. My contract came up, and I was super close. We had a lot of bumps along the way, which one of them is, I know you're going to ask me a question later, which I'll have an answer to. But yeah, just one step at a time,
What would you say was the biggest challenge about leaving? When did you make the decision of like, I had this dream at one point to be in news, and now I have this new passion. When did it change from passion to like ideal career moving forward standpoint?
See, it's really hard because I was pretty down on myself when I quit. And to this day, there are moments where I wonder if I did the right thing. But I don't know. I made a promise to myself before I went to South Dakota. I was like, this is going to be horrible and you're going to hate your life, but you're not going to quit, And so I realized that I was just kind of doing it because I said I wasn't going to quit. And that was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't healthy. I wasn't happy. Part of the reason, I made this product, I was losing hair. My skin was breaking out. I was gaining a lot of weight rapidly, even though I was like exercising and eating well. And I didn't understand why. My body was just freaking out, wasn't sleeping. So, I wasn't really sure when I left news that it was going to be forever. And with the time I've been gone, I've applied to jobs, but I'm just so much happier now.
Yeah.
And I think that the way the industry is going and like, having a profitable career, I think both are risky. And I'm able to think bigger with this than I was with news, People are not really watching network news as much as they used to, especially not in our generation. And so people in news are not even really sure what that's going to look like. And a lot of people told me that were in the news, like mentors for a long time. They said, I would not recommend a young person out of college get into this now.
Wow.
So that kind of made me think. But yeah, it's hard to know if you're I'm kind of type A. You seem kind of type A too to me.
I think I'm type A.
Yeah.
I would say like what I want to know when actually like the first product was created.
Yeah.
And then I also want to know who the first person was to try it besides you.
Yes. So the first product we did, my dog is running around and
Wait,
is
is he
distracting
okay?
me. He's fine. He's 14, so he kind of he's running back and
He's
forth.
literally just hustling these
No,
streets.
he's yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna guard you guys if you don't mind.
His back legs, he kind of has hip dysplasia, but he's totally fine.
Oh,
it doesn't hurt.
yeah.
It doesn't hurt. I bring him to the vet.
Oh my
and they're like,
gosh.
he's fine.
Okay,
He's fine.
okay, that's fine.
It doesn't hurt him.
Okay.
But crazy. So I made them in my kitchen for a long time, and then I went to a factory in June.
This
of
is separate
this
from the
year.
food scientist.
Yes, to try to make it, and
This June, so
it
it's
turned
been
out a disaster. It was a mess. Like it was like goo. It was so bad. And My dad helped me helped me go when, we tried it. My dad has been the person who has been so supportive, who thinks it's so awesome. He orders so many of them and buys so many of them that I have to tell him to stop buying them because he's like selling out the stores and no one else can buy them. It's crazy. He's like stopping our growth right now because he's buying so many.
That's so funny.
But he was the first person to try it.
That's
and
so special.
Too, I can trust him because he ate the first ones from June and this tastes like shit. And I'm like, you're honest with me. It does. They're not good. They're not good.
God.
Yeah.
What had to change?
So, and we both say it wasn't that the taste was bad. That was kind of misleading. The texture was just completely off. I mean, if you think of a caramel, you want to bite into it and you want it to be chewy. And it was just mush. It wasn't it. So pretty much we had to, just change the way we were cooking it. It wasn't the ingredients. It was the way that they're made. And the way these are made is pretty unique, just because it's dairy-free, gluten-free, refined sugar-free, vegan, chemical-free, all the things. So when you're making a traditional caramel, you're using sugar, you're using all of these chemicals or preservatives, and we're not using that. So the way we make it has to be very different. So it was a lot of trial and error, but our first really successful run was in July, and it was perfect. We were, oh my gosh.
Oh, do you want to get him?
Should I go get him?
Yeah, go get him. Come here. Quick, brief intermission so Grace can get a dog. Yeah. Quick break intermission so Grace can get a dog. If you're watching on YouTube, you might have just seen Dinky.
He's running back and forth.
Oh my God, Dinky, I feel like you've been like dying for this.
We'll just let you sit.
Dinky, what's not that deep? You being on camera, I know.
He thinks everything is that deep. He is so dramatic.
He wouldn't be the most amazing guest, but that's okay.
We love him, but like he just, everything is deep for Dinky.
That's okay.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. First run. July. It was perfect. We hit the ground running. We started launching in stores in New York City. This is only July to August. This is 3 months ago. Yeah, so we launched in...
That's crazy, Grace.
Yeah, it's crazy. Boutiques in New York City. It started selling out pretty quickly. So some stores have told us we can't keep this in stock. We sold out of our first shipment really quickly. And then we had another problem of how do we make enough to fulfill everything. We're selling out of thousands.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Where was your first instinct, or did you have someone mentoring you of like where to go? Like now that you've mastered the recipe, the actual caramel, where do you go? Where do you go? Yeah.
So that, I was just my goal was to just take over New York, get it in as many places as New York. So many people travel here, they come here and they'll find it. That has been going well, but we have a little plot twist. I submitted it to a chain that's out in LA, and we were accepted. And it was one of two places. And I've tell people, I'm not saying it, everywhere yet because we haven't launched there yet. But it was one of two places where I was like, this would be a dream years down the line, and I hope we can do it. And I just sent in a sample, didn't think I would hear back. Just got an email completely out of the blue that we were accepted and that they wanted it in the store. So we're launching in every single one of their stores. And because of that, when you launch in a chain, you have to sign with the distributor, and it just takes it to another level. So we're working on that now. And then that distributor has relationships with other national brands. So I think by the end of next year, getting it in a few stores nationwide would be really cool. Yeah.
You literally told me this last time, but it still like shakes me because this is so incredible. And I just I'm beaming with pride for you. And this is so exciting, and you are so deserving, and you worked your ass off and you make it look really easy.
See, thank you. But oh my God, the amount of breakdowns I've had. Oh my God. There's so much that can go wrong. Mm-hmm. There's so much that can go wrong. Even LLC stuff, trademark stuff. That first run in June where it turned out to be a disaster. that was a nightmare because I had to pay for all of the ingredients, had to pay for all of them to get there, had to pay for the day at the factory. And I was like, well, this is just sunk cost there, you know?
Right. No one sees that though.
No. And in that moment, you're just like, you know, like, do I keep going with this and risk, you know, it not going well again? Or do I stop, you know?
I'm so happy you didn't stop.
Yeah. And even now to this day, I mean, things are not always perfect, especially when you're changing factories or, you know, figuring things out. I mean, I think they're great and they have had a lot of great feedback, but not every single store wants them in, you know. To this day, we've only had one person turn us away, which is pretty good.
It's amazing.
But
you've only been live for 7 months.
3.
Oh, wait. What month is it?
June to July to August. 5 months.
Okay, it turns out neither of us
Wait,
can do
it
math.
was right between us too.
I think that we did that on purpose.
Yeah, it was right between us.
Wait, so what's so funny is I was like counting the months in my head
Yeah,
while
I
you were
can't count
talking,
either.
and I was like, okay. I mean, 5 months. 5 months, Grace.
Yeah.
People do this in years, and then they're like, "Yay, look where I got 5 months."
Yeah,
It's 150 days. That's
you know
crazy.
what though? I think of it more like 2 years because it was a year and a half before launching.
Fair.
So it was probably 2 years to get to this point.
Huh. Okay, that's fair too, but I
Yeah.
just think still the amount of success that you've had in the small amount of time since
Thank
actually
you.
having these. I just heard this quote. I'm like, this is gonna sound so fake. I don't want to say it again. You put in a lot of work behind the scenes, and I heard this quote the other day that was 90% of the surfer's time is spent paddling.
Yeah.
And we don't see that. We only see that 10% when they're like killing their wave, being gnarly. We don't see all the work that's going into it. So
Totally.
I think it's helpful for people listening and whoever you share your story with to be like, hey, like it looks really good right now, but this took time.
Yeah.
And tears.
Totally. And there will be more. There will be more, you know? But it's, I would say I heard someone told this to me. I can't remember who it was, but they said if you're really trying hard enough and if you're putting yourself out there enough, a third of the time you should be comfortable, a third of the time you should be miserable, and the third time you should be, you know, on top of the world. You know, that means that you're kind of really trying hard enough. And I feel like that's kind of what it's been, you know?
Wait, I love that.
That's what it's been with this. A third of the time I've been like, I'm done. This is not working. And a third of the time I've been like, wow, we're selling out. This is awesome. We're our best sold, you know, the best sold product at this place. And we got that back. And then most of the time it's like, you know, just another day. And that's the way it is.
Freaking love that.
Yeah.
What can we manifest before we get into your not that deep moment?
Yes.
What can we manifest for you, for Date Smarter, for 2025, let's say, if you want to put something out there?
Yeah. So a successful launch at this chain in California, which is going to be really exciting for me to see it on the shelves there. And potentially another chain as well. I think my plan has kind of changed from, you know, getting it in every single store in one location to just trying to get it in some national chains, you know, and see what happens. My all-time goal, I would love it in Whole Foods at the store I go to. So that would be really neat to get it to see it there. And it's the store I grew up going to too, because my parents were, my mom especially, super health conscious, which is how this all happened. So she was, before Whole Foods was cool, she was like making her own almond milk and all of that, which I was so annoyed with at the time. Yeah. Yet I've turned out to be her. And I was like, oh, I just want Oreos. I don't like these gross things. And, you know.
Isn't it funny how that happens?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll still continue to do your TikToks and your like sampling in the park.
Yes.
Freaking love those.
Yes. And sampling at grocery stores, that is the best thing. Yeah. that I get to do with this. It's so fun. And
I'm sure people are wondering, it's just you right now, correct?
Yeah, just me. I mean, there are boxes all over my apartment, everywhere.
There are.
Which you can't see, but boxes all over. I ship out all my orders. The people at UPS know me by now. They know you don't need a receipt because you have it online. Like they know me by name. They know my dog because sometimes I'll bring him when I'm on a walk and just try to take out a few boxes if they're lighter orders. I post on social media. I go out and give out the samples by myself and make all the deliveries by myself. Reach out to stores all by myself.
And this is not your full-time job.
Yeah. Well, I think soon, now I did freelance for a little bit. But now I'm, pretty sure that this kind of going forward will be, but yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see where we are in like this time next year. It's going to be insane. Why don't you tell people where you can find it right now? Because you are my first sponsor, and then we'll get into your not that deep.
Exciting. Yes. So I recommend people go online. Online you can just get the best deals across, a lot of CPG packaged goods because we ship in bulk usually with products like this. So I'll sell them in a 5-pack online. And because people are buying so many, I'm able to lower the price a little bit to give them a little bit of a deal. But I also love grocery stores, love going to check out all these products. Butterfield in New York City is my favorite. It's been I think it's the 3rd generation. It's in the family, Butterfield.
Ooh.
So I was born in New York City. I remember going there when I was little. It's one of my favorite stores. So both of those locations, both Good Smart locations, Happier Grocery, Pop-Up Grocer, The Well.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just trying to think. Boutique grocery stores in the city. Yeah. But online, I would say online, we get, I think half of what we make is online,
Good to know. Because
Yeah.
I know the people's mouths are going to be watering after listening to this.
Yeah. But
Guys, they're so freaking good. Like,
yeah. I love them in the fridge too, personally.
I put mine in the fridge. I meant to tell you.
That's the way I really like them.
Yes.
And they're pretty big, and they're only 35 calories per piece, 70 per serving, and each bag has 6 caramels in them. So the entire bag is 200 calories for 3 serving sizes.
They're so it's ideal.
Yeah.
Road tripping, airport, snacking,
Yeah.
going to work for the day.
Yeah.
Literally anything, movie theater, whatever.
Yeah.
Grace, I want you to tell me what is not that deep.
Okay, so one of the roadblocks I had is our initial date. It says Date Smarter, so I'm saying that our initial name was supposed to be It's a Date. And everything was set. We had the logo set. I was working with people in packaging. I had already moved forward with an LLC. The LLC was already done. We're already moving forward with the trademark. And it turned out trademarking the name, I'd missed one. And so that was not going to be our name. And I was so upset because there's so much thought that goes into naming something. Like, I had 5 billion names by the time I picked It's a Date. And I was it was like dear to me, at that point.
Yeah.
And
You got attached, I'm sure.
yeah. And I was just, that's how I was talking about it. And, so we were like, yeah, that can't be the name. And we were like, oh my God, we have to go through all these, processes by ourselves. And also I was thinking like, there's no better name. That's the name. That's the name we decided on. Like, every other name sucks. That was going to be the name and no one's going to buy it. If that, I was just getting so drastic. Like, who would buy it if it's a different name? And so then, Date Smarter is a name that we, I say we, like I have a team. It's just literally me.
Grace.
But I came up with that name, and then instantly, this was like a few days later of just like brainstorming. I came up with the worst names too. I was texting to people. I'm like, what about Date Night? They were like, that makes no sense. Like, what is that?
You just gotta like flush out all
I
the
was
ideas.
like, what about like Date Right or like Date Light? Like, they were like, no, that's horrible.
You needed, not wanted, date in it. You needed it.
Yeah, because I think a goal for us too is to expand to A goal for me is
Grace, like,
is to
it's you and Date Smarter.
Yeah, it's to expand to other products using date powder instead of sugar. So I wanted a name that if I decide to do that, not just flavors, but other products, that it would hold true. So
it's brilliant.
Yeah, well, so then though, Date Smarter, I thought of that and I was like, wait, I think it's actually better. I don't know why, just the smarter way to satisfy cravings. It's made out of date powder. I just felt that the name it made more sense for a healthy product because of the, the smarter choice aspect to that, and a smarter alternative. So it worked out in the end. But it took me a few days to get to that's not so deep moment. It did. But then when I eventually got there, I was like, okay, you know what? It's just words. It's just words. We're going to just move forward.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have about 1 million that like you could probably
See, there
name.
were so many things like that happened along the way. And you just keep chugging, you know?
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
And it brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, exactly. And I even think that 2 words look better on a logo than 3. Just
It's also clean words. It's
Yes.
not like it's like
Yes.
it's A.
yes.
I'm like shitting on your old name.
No, but seriously, we can shit on it all I want. I'm like, we didn't work out, you know, whatever.
I just think it's freaking perfect.
yeah. So I think it turned out better, you know?
Yeah, it all happened. They're delicious. My roommates are obsessed.
Oh,
Grace, I cannot thank you enough.
this
for,
is so fun.
like getting connected. I feel like we could unfortunately talk for
Yes.
2 more hours.
Yeah.
But I think I am gonna end it.
Oh no.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But I cannot thank you enough for coming on.
Yeah.
For
Thank
bringing
you for
Date
having
Smarter
me. This
into
is so
my
fun.
life. So
I kind of
fun.
forgot we were like, I mean, I didn't completely.
No, I know.
but
That's just like what it's like. It just
it's
you
kinda
want
fun
it
to
to
chat.
feel like 'cause-
Therapeutic, you know?
right. Well, we did this on Monday.
Yes.
We just yapped.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, let's do my podcast.
Yes.
And then it happened. But I'm truly wishing you the
Thank
utmost
you.
success. Like,
and we'll fill you in and give you samples along the way
Yeah.
for all of our other flavors coming out. It'll be so fun.
I can't wait. And again, like for everyone listening, when you're listening to this, remember this in a year because this brand is going to blow the fuck up.
Thank you.
And always remember, it's not that deep.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing day. Find a reason to laugh, find someone to smile with, and spread that light. Bye-bye.